Detroit needed a bounce-back win on the road and a little bit of vengeance against the Commanders, who ended Detroit's season last year. Well, Detroit got both of those today. Final from Landover, Maryland, 44-22. Welcome into the Detroit Lions Live postgame show presented by Kier Auto Insurance. Alongside the Super Bowl champ, Lomas Brown, I'm Dannie Rogers. Tonight, Detroit's offense was cooking, Lomas. What stood out to you first about their efforts?
You know what stood out to me is that it seemed like everybody was on the same page, Danny. And what I mean by that, we executed. We didn't have third and long, so we did great on first and second downs. No penalties. You know, just everything that we didn't do against Minnesota, we came out and we executed to the highest game plan against the Washington Commanders, and that's why we're leaving out of this game with a nice victory to take home to Detroit.
Something Detroit always hangs their hat on is the running game, led by Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. That came back tonight. Third down has been the Achilles heel for Detroit this season. 50% today. They'll take that. They were 2 of 2 on fourth down, and in the red zone, 4 of 6. But listen, Lomas, they scored on every offensive drive tonight, and that is really impressive. Jack Fox, sorry, bud, we didn't need you tonight.
Hey, look, we can let him rest every game. We don't mind, Jack, if you don't get any play.
League.
That's right. We don't need you tonight. And you're right, Danny. I mean, for you to score on every drive that you get out there on the field, that was just so efficient. Jared Goff was efficient. You know, he spread the ball to different receivers. But I think the number one thing is, like you said, we were able to establish the run. When we establish the run, everything else comes off of that, and it showed tonight.
Play of the game, rather. We're going Jameson Williams. That third quarter touchdown. On that drive alone to open the second half, Williams picked up 47 yards, 41 of them coming on a big catch, and then he tops it off with a receiving touchdown, his second week in a row that J-Mo's finding the end zone here.
Danny, when they said we need way more, J-Mo, we got a lot more today. Yes, we did. I mean, it seemed like Coach made a concerted effort to get him involved in the game. And it wasn't the long throws. It was the shorter throws, the drag routes that he was able to take on the run and get that yak, those yards after the catch. He was blocking. He was doing it all today. And it was so refreshing to see him get the ball in his hands, because we see what kind of weapon he can be for us. So if we need way more, J-Mo.
J-Mo got 7 targets today, came up with 6 of them, good enough for 119 yards. He hadn't eclipsed the 100 receiving yard mark since week 2, and we kept asking every week, where is J-Mo? Keep putting him in. Well, he turned the wheels on in that third quarter, proved to be a big one. And I spoke with Jameson Williams post-game. He's as good as ever. Here's what the wide receiver had to say. J-Mo, on every single drive tonight, the offense scored, and there were 4 receivers who had 49-plus receiving yards each. What is the number one thing that elevated this offense tonight?
I think, spreading it around and let everybody get going. That's what we did. And you see, we got 44 points. It's one of the highest we had this season. I think our second highest. And I think it was just the main thing was just getting out there and getting our guys going. We had a chip on our shoulder from last year. We just used that as an advantage to us to go out there and go extra hard on them boys today.
Second time this season you've eclipsed 100 receiving yards in a game. What kind of chip is on your shoulder?
Man, I just want to play ball, make plays, man. Shout out to Coach. He told me, I'm coming to you, and all I could do is just be ready. That whole drive was shout out to Coach, man. He believed in me, and I went out there and made the plays when my number was called. So, that's all I could, keep doing is making plays when my number called. And, that's it.
Detroit needed another bounce-back win tonight. How do you make sure your team sustains this momentum?
Well, that's what we do, man. Nobody like losing. When you lose, you got to go and correct the mistakes that you make. And we did that with a quickness and a hurry because, we felt like we wasn't supposed to come out on the bottom last week. It was supposed to be just like today. And once we fix those things, it's kind of hard to stop us. We put on a lot of points. You see our offense. It's just crazy when we get going. Like, it's almost like nobody could do nothing with us once we on our stuff. You see every drive was a touchdown. I don't know how many drives there was, but every drive was points, so that's big for us.
Congrats, J-Mo. Thank you.
Thank you.
All of his interviews just make us smile and laugh
I know,
off camera.
I love James. But it's that innocence, Danny.
Yeah.
You could just hear
He's
it
just a
in
kid
his
playing
voice.
football.
He really is. And like he said, he took advantage of his opportunity. Coach said that he was going to come to Jameson, and Jameson was ready. He produced, and that gives not only him confidence, but that gives Coach confidence in calling plays for him.
Speaking of the head coach, Dan Campbell, a lot of conversation on the Twitter sphere on X on whether or not the head coach was calling the plays tonight and switching it up. I can't imagine he didn't get asked this question in the postgame presser. Let's hear from the head coach.
Okay, how's it going? Good. Good to see our guys respond. You know, I'm not surprised. I knew they'd be ready to go. That's just what they do. We got the right guys, man. They, you could feel it all week. Just the, you know, the intensity, the focus. They wanted to get back in the win column. Cleaned a lot of little things up. You know, defensively to handle the tempo that they had and played with over there. You know, that's not easy if you don't see that all the time. They do, you know, a lot of different things, man. They're under center, they're in the gun. Mariota can run, the RPO, the boot, then back to under center, and then you get in heavy, and they run the keepers, then the wide zone, then the gap. So anyway, and all of that is really kind of on the ball. So, you know, I thought we handled it pretty well. I really did. So it was good. Offensively, you know, Goff was outstanding. I mean, there was really nobody that didn't play at a high level right now that I can think of. I mean, I thought J-Mo showed up, man. St. Brown, Gibbs, obviously, Laporta. That old line, man, stepped up. Got us the run game going, protected Goff. It was great, man. It was good to see. You know, Yodi stepped in there, and we didn't miss a beat, man. He brings us a level of consistency. So fired up there. Special teams was better. You know, I know we got hit on one, but we were much better across the board, and that's much more our style of football. So proud of the guys. Good win.
You started making a little bit of a fashion statement today.
I can't see. I can't see anymore.
But you talked about some changes coming. I mean, just talk about it appeared as if you were calling players. What was the mindset behind changing things up, man? Were you calling the plays?
Yeah, you know, it was just let's try something a little different, right? You know, and look, I know what I want to do. I know how I want to do it. Now, that being said, this is a collaborative effort now. I mean, I was taking input from John Morton that whole time and the other coaches. So, hey, man, what do you think here? Third down. All right, we get into this. 3rd and 7 plus, blah, 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 blah. All right, where are we at? Give me the. So, this is, man, this is all encompassing. You know, man, we all work together. Coaches did a hell of a job. But I just wanted to change it up a little bit. You know, let's just see if you know, maybe a different play caller can you know, maybe get us a little rhythm. That's all. And it honestly is nothing more than that. You know, I know you're probably going to want to ask questions about, well, what about this, or I heard this. It's not that. This was a change. We made a change. It was good for today.
When did you decide to make that change and hold that conversation like with John?
Yeah, it was last week. You know, really. Whatever, after the game, day after the game, and look, it was honest. It was he and I, and we were good. And it's like I told him, man, I need you. You know, I need you, and but I feel like, you know, this is something that I'm going to do. And listen, John Morton's all team, man. That's all he cares about. He just wants to win. He wants to be a part of it. He wants to help where he can, and he was outstanding today. And he's done nothing. He's a grinder. He's a worker, and he just tries to help and give you anything that you can possibly need for the game. So it was, you know, look, if you're him, of course it probably doesn't feel too good. But he's also, man, he's a pro, and he understands everything. And so we move on. And there was no guarantee that anything was going to change today. But you know, look, the guys did a hell of a job. Our players were outstanding today.
How was it different than 2021 when you did this? If there's anything, you know.
Well, what do you mean?
I don't know. I mean,
Just calling it, you mean?
yeah. I mean,
The way I call it, or?
dynamics with you and John versus what happened with you and.
Oh yeah. Now listen, I like John. That's what I'm saying. Like John is vital to me. All right. He gives me critical information that deals with the pass game, and you know that number one is his baby, man. That's his bread and butter. It's one of the things he does well, and so, man, I think that's the best I can say, man. He's good. I'm glad he's here. This is not, you know, I don't know what you want me to say. You know, I know how the other one ended, but that's. Listen, man, this is where I'm at, and he's in a great spot. He can help me out today, and
maybe you can explain them the rhythm that you found, I guess, what you call them, that the offense found with your voice and Jerry's head said, and kind of what else again, you know, in terms of the creativity or some of those things that we saw out there.
Well, look, I just, you know, I think sometimes it gets hard. Look, when you're the head coach and you know how you want it to look, it's one thing to kind of say how you want it to look, but it's hard to crawl into my head, right? And you have your own vision for it, and sometimes it's all encompassing, man. The way you run the ball, the way you play pass, the way you boot, the drop backs, and you're just trying to hit from all sides. And I just know I have a good feel of our players, and I know what we're capable of. I know what they're capable of. And so, I don't know. That's the best way to say it. And
what was the key to unlocking J-Mo today? Did you have him doing anything different?
No. Listen, he's been doing a great job. I mean, he's been busting his rear. He does every day. He comes to work. I mean, he grinds on it, man. He has. He's been unbelievable, and we just hadn't connected. And so today, man, we got him going. You know, Goff got him going and made some throws, and he made some big time plays, man. And so it was just good to see, man. His confidence was up, and he's ripping and roaring, and he's very much a part of our guys. I mean, you know, Saint is our lead dog, but I mean, this guy's a catalyst. Gibbs a catalyst. You know, Demo, he's a catalyst. Laporta, you know, and I just thought all those guys showed up for us. But it all starts with that old line, and they showed up today and delivered for us, which now does everything, you know, because now Goff can play the game he needs to play, and we can distribute it to our weapons.
What did you see out of Dannie Rogers this week, though? Coming off the performance last week, season low, like a difference in mentality, or what was his mindset?
Now, listen, he's well, I can tell you this: he had a chip on his shoulder. You know, I mean, nobody was more upset about last week than he was. You know, and so he wanted to make things right, and you know, and also wanted to get him more involved in all areas. You know, the run game, the pass game, mix it up a little bit, and so you know, he was ready to go. I mean, he just. You know, it was a bad taste in his mouth, like it was all of us last week, man. That was a hard loss.
Just the offensive line, no sacks, no TFLs. What did you see from them out there today? How were they able to kind of put it back together and rebound?
Yeah, I mean, they just, you know, I thought they played well together. I thought I mean, from the first time we ran the ball, you could just see the surge. And so, you know, they were ready to go. Look, they take all that stuff personal too. They're no different than us or anybody else, man. When you lose a game and things don't go your way, man, that's a tough pill to swallow. So you really can't get to the next game fast enough because you want to wrong the right or right the wrong. So they did a great job. They really did. I mean, you could just feel the line of scrimmage move today. And honestly, I feel like you could have called anything today, and they were going to make it work. It was, they took it over, man. Guys are unbelievable.
We talked about third down a lot.
Last three.
Say it again.
Here and then Sean.
We talked about third down a lot in recent weeks. He started hot. I think he converted the first 5, including 2 3rd and 7s. Just what did you see different about third down today, and just why was it more successful?
Well, we were, you know, for the most part, we were in manageable thirds, and if we weren't, we were trying to get there for 4th and some of these other zones. But, you know, we mixed up the protections. You know, we did a couple of different things. You know, run game was part of some of that. You know, we took some one-on-ones, like J-Mo caught a, one-on-one over there. And so, I mean, really, it was, you know, we packaged things very much like we have. It just, you know, everything was, we executed today. Guys did a great job, and guys made plays.
Over here. Your observations, takeaways, Trevor, from having the president of the game, was it something you noticed? Was it mentioned on your sideline?
No, you know what? I didn't. I knew that he was coming to the game. I didn't even know. like honestly, and I just didn't know. He was here, right? Yeah, I didn't know. Like when I'm in this play, you know, I don't even know what's going on around me half the time, you know. And so it was either defense is out there or I'm trying to get the plays ready, so I didn't even know. But that's cool. You know, that's cool. Now that I know he was definitely here, that's you know, when you're talking about the President of the United States, I mean, that's a big deal.
Sean, last question.
Yeah, how much do you enjoy calling plays, and did you consider this after Ben left?
I did. You know, I did. Thought about it long and hard. You know, I knew the hard thing is, yeah, I enjoy it, you know, but I also know, man, you know, it's going to require a lot of, you know, it's going to require a lot of me. And so that's the holdback is that, you know, wherever your resources go, then you're losing them somewhere else. That's the hard thing. That's the reality of a head coach who calls plays too, or is part of the offense. You know, but it's like anything else. When you do it, you adjust. You know, you adjust and you start figuring out what you need to do, how you need to do it, become more efficient, and you know, and it's really ultimately about what's right for the team, always. And it doesn't matter, nothing else matters. And so, you know, I feel good with where we're at. You know, I wasn't perfect. I mean, Goff bailed me out of some stuff today. But, you know, I like the setup of the staff, and I think the players are in a good place. And, you know, and I think we can grow from here. I really do.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll have Jameson and Jared.
Guys, your prior success has put you at the top of the power rankings list. That's a good thing, right?
Well, just means you've gone from the underdog to the favorite.
But those expectations come from prior success, so that's okay.
What about Cure? Where do you guys rank on the power list?
Actually, we just got named by Forbes as one of the best car insurance companies in America.
Now you're the favorite.
Guess we have a lot in common.
Go Cure.
Go Lions.
Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Detroit Lions Live is brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Log on to cure.com to see how you can save. Detroit's defense played a good game today, especially in the run defense facet. Didn't give up more than 100 rushing yards to the Commanders' offense, and a lot of that had to do with Brian Branch. He had a sack to end the first quarter and then split a sack in the third quarter with Roy Lopez, but Brian Branch came up, made plays by the line of scrimmage, physical as ever, and that's his first sack since week 2.
I know, it's kind of shocking because I'm used to Brian being in the mix with everything, on the line of scrimmage, deep, you know, playing at all these different positions. But it's so good to have number 32 back there, BB as we affectionately call him, because he's a do-it-all guy. Love that rush that he had. Look, Aiden Hutchinson spin move on that sack. So it was just great to see him back out there. I know he appreciates being back out there with the guys. And look, when you're missing Kirby Joseph like we've been missing the last couple of games, you need big performances from guys like Brian Branch.
And a big performance from Roy Lopez tonight. Interior defensive line, an off-season acquisition. Had a split sack with BB like we just mentioned in the third quarter. Also came up with a couple of TFLs, and he made sure that run game stayed in check tonight.
I'm telling you, Danny, I gave him love on the radio booth because he has been working. Yeah, he got his recognition this game, but I've seen this young man work all year long. It's so great. He's powerful. He's a guy that can stuff the run, but he pursues and makes sure he gets in on tackles, and I was happy to see him get his half a sack. He's a guy that I think is great for our rotation, to give Aleem McNeil a little break. DJ Reed, to give them a break when they need to. I don't think the level drops off much when he's in the game. Proud of that young fella.
Speaking of pursues, on the other side of the ball for Detroit's offense, Jahmyr Gibbs pursued that end zone all night long. 3 touchdowns, over 170 scrimmage yards tonight. He is one of a kind. He continues to etch his name into history books here in Detroit and the NFL.
You're right. And when you get them out on the edges, Danny, nobody's catching them. I mean, you get them in open space, and it's not too many guys that can tackle him. I mean, he is the ultimate weapon for us in the pass game, in the run game. I just love how hard he runs, too. And his vision is something else. So I know those guys up front, they appreciate having a running back like that behind them, because I had one behind me like that, and I appreciated every snap that he took. So I'm just so proud of, again, the way the offensive line blocked tonight. They gave him that opportunity, and Jahmyr Gibbs took advantage of it.
Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 rushing touchdowns today, 142 yards on the ground. And I'm so glad you mentioned the offensive line. They opened up the gaps for guys like him and David Montgomery. Demo adding 71 rushing yards. They didn't allow a single sack on Goff either.
No, and there you go. So they, like the Certain mattress commercial do, they kept him comfortable all night long. And that's what happens when you establish the run game early. If you can establish the line of scrimmage early, then it makes it, I hate to use the word easy, but it makes it a little easier for those guys up front. And you're right, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jared Goff, all of them benefited from it. And then, of course, you got Amon-Ra, you got Jameson. Everybody benefits when the offensive line is playing the way they play. And I think they wanted to make up a little bit from what happened last week, too.
QB1 Jared Goff certainly benefited from the pass protection up there along the offensive line. But at one point, you saw right tackle Penei Sewell go out. At one point, you saw center Graham Glasgow injured. He went on the sideline and came back in. But what did you notice about Goff and just how he was able to operate very smoothly tonight and in rhythm?
The smooth operator. That's what we call him, because, again, you never know if this guy's flustered. You never know whether he's having a good game, bad game. He just stays the same. And, Danny, I said over and over again, when you can look in the huddle and look in your quarterback eyes and he stays the same, it just has a calming effect on you. And even though, like you say, we dealt with a few injuries, Penei went out for a little bit, you know, those guys just kept the rhythm going. I think Coyote, great job subbing in. That's right, going in for Christian Mahogany. So it's just great to see these guys, when they get their opportunity, they're taking advantage of it.
How can Goff sustain this momentum now that he's seen it, now the offensive line has seen it? Being a former offensive lineman, it's got to be a big pick-me-up.
Oh, yeah, it is. And I heard Coach say, while he was at the podium, that Jared bailed him out of a couple of bad calls that he made. So think about how the coaching staff feel about that. You almost have another coach on the field. Jared could get you in and out of bad plays. So he's, I mean, it's just unbelievable the way he's been playing. And he's playing at such a high level. I wish he would get more respect on this name nationally, because he plays like an MVP. He's been doing that all year long. And I think they need to start talking about Jared in that same breath.
Yet another 300-plus passing game for Goff. 3 touchdowns and a 135.9 quarterback rating here tonight in a big win over the Washington Commanders. QB1 is standing by at the podium. Let's hear from Goff.
Same question. What did you think of J-Mo?
Yeah, he was incredible today. He was great, and I love that we just kept coming back to him and giving him more ops to get the ball, and he was locked in. He was really locked in all week in practice, and has been all year, honestly, and to see him have a game where it pops like that's fun.
How dangerous can he be on those crossers?
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really dangerous, right? Like, he's one of the fastest guys in the league, and get him in space, you know, it's like it's a cheat code going down the sideline. And yeah, we want to try to do that as much as possible.
Obviously, different voice in your headset today. How did you feel the offense was different with game calling plays?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. I really did. I thought, you know, it's hard, certainly in your first time doing it. Since that first year, you know, it's been a long time since he's done it, and I thought he did a great job getting the plays in on time, getting the personnels in, switching up the tempos. He was great.
What about the offensive line? Obviously, wasn't up to their standard last week to come
Yeah.
back. No tackles for loss, no sacks, but you were hit only 5 times today. And
Yeah, they were great. They were really great, and I think it started early. You could feel them leaning on those guys early in the run game, and then that kind of leads to everything else. And those guys have a lot of pride and wanted to play really well today and did a good job.
What does it say about Dan's finger on the pulse of this team to not only make that tough change, but to come out and have it look the way it did today?
Yeah, he knows, man. I've been saying it for years. He's not just this rah-rah guy. He's extremely smart and has a very good feel for people and players and obviously our team. And yeah, I thought he did a great job.
When did he tell you that change was happening this last week?
When did he tell you guys it was happening? When did he tell you guys? He told me, I guess, would be my question. I knew early in the week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was the week any different with the process of putting
No,
together?
exactly the same. Honestly, everything remained the same, and I think you got to give Johnny a ton of credit for handling it the way he handled it as a veteran coach and a guy who has shown to have no ego over and over, like to have that happen and for him to not miss a beat in game planning and helping me and the pass game and the whole thing was really cool and impressive by him, and it all worked really well together this week.
Can you explain just a little bit more about, the offense looks so in rhythm today.
So what?
So in rhythm.
Yeah.
Everything was just clicking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just through Dan or whatever, but like when, how well he knows you and how well he knows the vision of what he wants. How does that make that come to life, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. I think, it's knowing when to go and when to pull and push and pull and push and pull. And to be honest, that's kind of one of his best traits as a leader, and not to, cross leadership and play calling, but knowing kind of when the shot feels right and when the run feels right and when to switch the run and when to do that. Like, it's really hard. And I think it's a lot of feel. It really is just a lot of feel. You can't really teach it. You can't really learn it. And he did a great job with that. I don't think it has anything to do so much with him, like, knowing me. Like, yeah, he knows what plays I like. He knows what plays I like every week. So he did a good job.
What's the main difference about having Campbell in your headset versus anyone else? And
I feel like I've just answered this question like 4 times, but go ahead.
No, just like Dan's voice. Like, what's different? What's sticks out about Dan compared to anyone else, not just John Moore?
Sure. I don't know. To be honest, in those microphones and those speakers, rather, everything kind of sounds the same. So I wish I could give you a better answer. It's pretty muffled always. So yeah, I don't really have a great answer for that.
What did you see from Jameer this week?
Yeah, pretty good.
Maybe thought that this could be on.
Yeah, I think the way that they play on defense gives you a lot of chances to get the running back in advantageous matchups. It's they do a lot of great things over there, and that's one of their areas that they're willing to be exposed on, and you got to expose them on it, and we did today. And I thought he did a great job out of the backfield as a receiver, and then obviously in the run game was incredible too. But yeah, he's a unique weapon for us if we can use him like we did tonight.
Was this transition compared to when it happened with Anthony and Dan took over? Does this transition, did it go any smoother because it's already happened before? Like, you guys know each other better without doing that communication?
I think it was. I don't relate those two the same even remotely. We were 0-8 when that happened, and we were 5-3 when this happened, and it was completely different circumstances. I don't know how to compare or contrast them further than that. They're completely different.
When the president arrived during the game,
Yeah.
did you notice it? Pay any attention?
Did I see the plane? Yeah, I saw the plane. Yeah, I thought the plane was freaking cool. I mean, whatever side of politics you're on, that was cool to see that thing that low. And I did see him on the big screen, and the place got pretty loud. So yeah, it was cool.
Thank you, guys.
I didn't do that. No, I didn't know where he was, but awesome that he was here.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, your prior success has put you at the top of the power rankings list. That's a good thing, right?
Well, just means you've gone from the underdog to the favorite.
But those expectations come from prior success, so that's okay.
What about Cure? Where do you guys rank on the power list?
Actually, we just got named by Forbes as one of the best car insurance companies in America.
Now you're the favorite.
Guess we have a lot in common.
Go Cure.
Go Lions.
Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Detroit Lions Live is brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Log on to cure.com to see how you can save. Detroit's offense got back to its normal self, we'll say, tonight. Very explosive, very efficient. When you think about your final takeaways, Lomas, one, how do they sustain this offensive success?
Yeah, the thing about it, Danny, is our team can take coaching. And what I mean by that is, I know it had to be a hard week on those guys leading up into this game because of what happened against Minnesota. They took the coaching. They went out. They improved in the areas we needed to improve in, third down. Just all the areas we talked about improving in, and that's good coaching, but that's also a team that's willing to listen to the coach, go out there and execute. And I thought they executed at a high level. That's why we were able to put up the points, the yardage, just everything we were able to do. So kudos to Dan Campbell having those guys ready, the coaching staff for having those guys ready, but the guys going out on the field and executing.
This team will have to hit on all cylinders coming up next week. Detroit hits the road again, taking on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles kick off on Monday Night Football, so I know we'll all be crowded around the TV tomorrow night watching the Eagles go to Lambeau and take on the Green Bay Packers. Your first thought when you think of that matchup with the Eagles?
I don't know who to root for. I just really don't, because we don't like neither one of those teams. But Dan, it's going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be a matchup where they test us up front because they have a formidable defensive line. They're going to test our defensive line with their offensive line. And, of course, they have weapons all over the field. They want to do what we want to do, establish the line of scrimmage, run, and try to hit us for explosive plays. So I think it's going to be a clash of the Titans next week, and I think the best team out of that is going to win that game. But we're going to have to come back with the similar effort we had today, execute the way we had today, and play penalty-free.
Certainly going to be a big test to see if Detroit can continue to sustain the momentum here in the win column. As they go to 6-3 on the season, Detroit escapes Landover, Maryland with a 44-22 victory over the Washington Commanders. For Lomas Brown, I'm Dannie Rogers. Thanks so much for watching the Detroit Lions post-game show presented by Curado Insurance. We're heading back home to Detroit. We'll see you next week on the road in Philly.